Hello, everyone. Well, the NFL season is upon us. And you know what that means? I get to review every team's schedule. Not going to waste any time on this. Let's get right into it. First division we have today is the AFC North with the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Ravens. First, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, which I have going 14-3. Joe Burrow, he was injured. He will be playing for the first game in Cleveland. It's also likely that he's going to get paid. Their offense is amazing, considering they have great wide receivers, probably the best wide receiver core in the league. Their tight end is a bit iffy. They still have Joe Mixon, and yeah, their defense is good. For their floor, I have them going 10-7. Their ceiling, I have at 16-1, maybe even 17-0. But I have them winning every game except the first game against Cleveland, not because of Joe Burrow's injury, but just because it's an away game for the Bengals, and the Bengals never usually play Cleveland well in away games, even with Joe Burrow. I have them losing a game to Baltimore, because they're going to be a really good team this season. And this one's either way. I had a tough time deciding on this one, but I think Kansas City takes the regular season game, goes up 3-2 against Joe Burrow. But we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Next, we have one of the most overrated teams of the offseason, and that is the Cleveland Browns. I have them going 7-10, and they are last in the North. A lot of people have been saying that they could even win the division, along with getting double wins, but I just don't see that. We don't know how Deshaun Watson's going to play, and if he plays bad, they're not going to get a lot of wins, and we already seen him not play good last year. So Browns fans basically have to hope that they can have a good quarterback this season. Of course, they have one of the top running backs in the league, Nick Chubb. Their defense isn't horrible either, but I just don't have much faith in them or Deshaun Watson. I have them winning week 1 against the Bengals, but I have them losing on Monday Night Football against the Steelers. I have them winning against the Titans, losing against the Ravens, losing against the 49ers. Since I'm a biased Colts fan, I have them losing to the Colts. I have them losing to the Seahawks, then finally getting a win on to the Cardinals. I have them losing to Baltimore, them getting swept. I have them taking a win against the Steelers, but they lose to the Broncos. They win against the Rams. They lose to the Jaguars. They win against the Bears. They win against the Texans. They lose to the Jets, and they end the season with a loss at the Bengals. I have their floor going 5-12, although I could see them at 6-11. And I have their ceiling at 10-7 because if Deshaun Watson does play well, then they could be a pretty alright team. Next is the Baltimore Ravens, and I have them second in the AFC North at 11-6. They just got wide receivers for, Lamar Jackson. He got paid this offseason, one of the biggest contracts in NFL history. Of course, not the biggest now. I think it's third. OBJ, their rookie, Zay Flowers, is definitely going to help him. And, of course, he still has Mark Andrews. And their defense is all right, too. I have them winning against the Texans, losing against the Bengals, winning against the Colts, unfortunately, winning against the Browns, losing to the Steelers at their stadium, of course, winning against the Titans, the Lions, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks, and the Browns and the Bengals. I have them losing to the Chargers. I have them winning against the Rams, and since injuries often happen at the end of the year for this team, I got them losing 3 straight to the Jaguars, Niners, and Dolphins, and I have them leading out the win with the Steelers. Their floor could be 6-11, and this is because of injuries, basically. If, Lamar Jackson, OBJ gets injured early in the season, they're not going to have a good season. I have their ceiling at 14-3 because this can definitely be a really scary team in the NFL if everyone can play healthy. And if they do stay healthy at the end, I believe they will win against the Chargers and the Jaguars. They might win against the Dolphins, but I still think they take the L to the Niners. Finally, for this division, we have the Steelers, and I believe they're the dark horse team, going 10-7, third in the AFC North. Their floor, obviously, is 9-8. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. And their ceiling could definitely be 12-5. I feel like Kenny Pickett is going to become a top 10 quarterback this season. I really have a lot of hope in him. George Pickens is also a great wide receiver. This team never had a losing record since Mike Tomlin was head coach, and I don't see it happening this year. I don't see it happening ever, so that kind of simplifies it. I see him taking a loss week 1 to San Francisco before going on a 5-win streak against Cleveland, Las Vegas, Houston, Baltimore at home, and the Rams. I have him losing to Jacksonville, but winning against Tennessee. I have him winning against Green Bay, losing to Cleveland and Cincinnati back-to-back, winning against Arizona, winning against New England, winning against Indianapolis. Unfortunately, I have to say that, of course. And then taking a 3-week L streak to just miss the playoffs, I believe, to Cincinnati, Seattle, and Baltimore. All three really tough competition, and I'll understand it. For the 12-5, I feel like they could win against Cleveland, of course, and then they could possibly pull out a win at either Jacksonville or Seattle. But I feel like 11-6 would be pretty solid, but I have them at 10-7 right now. Next is the FC West with the defending Super Bowl champions Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders. First, start with the Denver Broncos, which, although they got Sean Payton, and I do believe that Russell Wilson is going to play better this year, I still have them going 7-10 and missing the playoffs. Their floor is 5-12. If Russ can't cook, can't play well, they're going to be one of the most disappointing teams this year. Again, since people are hyping up again, since their new coach. But I do have their ceiling at 10-7 if everything goes well. Their defense was really well last season, until it wasn't, of course. Of course, we all know that Russell Wilson did not play well last season, and it all comes up to what happens this year. I have them winning against Las Vegas, winning a close game, although they could definitely lose to Washington now that I have a higher hope for the Commanders than I did when I made this. But I think I have them winning against Washington. I have them losing to Miami, losing to Chicago, losing to the Jets, losing to Kansas City, winning against Green Bay, although that could be a very close game, losing to Kansas City again because they just can't beat them, losing to Buffalo, losing to Minnesota, winning against Cleveland and Houston, although the Cleveland one could be very close as well. I have them losing to the Chargers, losing to Detroit, winning against New England, winning against the Chargers, surprisingly, of course, and taking an L to the Las Vegas Raiders, although the Raiders could definitely lose. For the Los Angeles Chargers, I've seen a lot of teams actually underrating this team, which definitely surprises me because I feel like they're still a really good team. I do have them missing the playoffs, though. But I have them going 9-8, with their ceiling at 13-4 if everything goes well, and their floor at 7-10, of course, if nothing goes well. Justin Herbert, I do believe, is the highest paid player in the NFL until Joe Burrow, of course, gets his contract. And the team overall is all right. No one too notable on defense except Joey Bosa. Just to get y'all mad, 27-0 lead. But I have them losing to the Dolphins week 1, winning against the Titans, losing to the Vikings, winning against the Raiders, winning against the Cowboys. That's going to be a close game. Losing to the Chiefs, winning against the Bears, losing to the Jets, and the Lions, and then going on a 5-win streak against the Packers, the Ravens, the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Raiders, just to lose 3 straight to the Bills, Broncos, and Chiefs. Although, since it's going to be the end of the season and they're going to fight for that playoff spot, I do believe they're going to fight against the Broncos. And, not given like last year. But, again, the Chiefs are just too good. I don't see them getting a win. They might, of course. That's a might. They could also win against the Lions, the Dolphins, and the Vikings. But right now I have them at 9-8. Next is our reigning Super Bowl champions, as you can see by the little trophy, the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. Although, week 1, I do have a change here. I have the Detroit Lions winning. Now, usually I said this as a joke, but now with Travis Kelce likely not playing, although he is questionable right now, playing, and of course not having Chris Jones, their basically number 1 defensive player. It comes down to if Patrick Mahomes can carry the team. And we've obviously seen this every single time, never count out the Chiefs, but I think I got the Lions winning. Although, for here, I have, of course, 13-4 with the Lions losing here. I have them winning against the Jaguars, the Bears, losing to the Jets, surprisingly. This is going to be a very close game, and it's going to foreshadow the playoffs, definitely. Winning against the Vikings, sadly. Winning against the Broncos, the Chargers, the Broncos again. I think they lose in the Tyreek Hill revenge game, even though it's in Germany, sadly. I have them losing to the Eagles. Eagles getting their get back, of course. Winning against the Raiders and the Packers. Taking the L to the Buffalo Bills. Because the Buffalo Bills seem to play better against the Chiefs in, the regular season. And then I have them winning out with the Patriots, the Raiders, a close game against the Bengals, and the Chargers. Their ceiling could very well be 15-2, only losing to the Bills and the Eagles. But their floor could also be 12-5, losing to the Bengals, but I don't see them going any further than that, other than 11-6 if they lose to the Lions. Finally, we got the Raiders. And I've seen the Raiders be a little too high. Even though I like Jimmy G, I don't have faith for the Raiders at all. I have them going 1-16. I believe their ceiling could be 5-12 if they can play their cards right. But their floor, even though they do have a good running back, and they do have not DeAndre Hopkins, of course, Davante Adams. I believe Davante Adams goes out mid-season, gets traded to like the Jets or something. And the running back is going to have to carry, and I just don't really see it happening. Josh Jacobs, of course, running back, who's I'm talking about. But I have them losing every game except the last game against the Broncos. Maybe the Broncos are trying to tank. I'm sorry, Raiders, but I don't have faith in your team. Since you just play in a division that's going to have your number, especially with the Chiefs and the Chargers. And your schedule is actually pretty hard, if you ask me. They have the Bears, which is pretty easy. The Patriots could be close. And, yeah, the Colts could be close. But overall, I don't see a lot of those games being close, in my opinion. Oh, and Green Bay, of course. And, yes, I do have the Colts winning. The Colts beat the Raiders last year. We're beating them again this year. Next, we have the AFC East with the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots, and the Jets. And this one is going to be surprising you guys, so strap in. The first team we have, of course, is the Buffalo Bills, which, I have them second in the AFC East. Who's going to be first? It's not who you think, by the way. Their floor could very well be 8-9 if everything goes wrong, like Josh Allen doesn't play as well and throws a lot of picks like he did last year. If Stephon Diggs, even though he's good with the team right now, does start to get angry at them again if they're not winning. If their defense doesn't lock in, if their new tight end Kincaid, I believe, doesn't play well. They could very well go 8-9 with as tough a division that they're in. But their ceiling could definitely very well be 13-4. They are still the Buffalo Bills. They do still have Josh Allen, which is a top 3 quarterback in the league. So I have them going 11-6 right now. I have them losing week 1 to the New York Jets, and this is because it is in the Jets Stadium. I have them winning against the Raiders, winning against Washington, winning against Miami at their place, obviously, winning against Jacksonville and the Giants, losing against New England. I believe an upset is due. Winning against Tampa Bay, losing against Cincinnati, winning against Denver, Jets, and losing Philadelphia and KC 2 in a row, of course. Wait, I have them losing to KC. Oh, I have them winning against KC. That was a mistake by me. You can change that to 12-5. Winning against Dallas, winning against the Chargers, winning against New England, and taking an L late in Miami. Since, I missed that mistake, they could still very well be 11-6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, they'd be 12-6 with this. If this mistake wasn't here, sorry for that. But I have them at 12-5. I still think they go second in the AFC East. And next is the Dolphins, who, if Tua stays healthy, they go 13-4 and win the division. And of course, if Tua gets concussed again, I have them going 9-8, and their ceiling could even be 14-3. I have high hopes for this Dolphins team. Even though Jalen Ramsey is out for a while, they just got him. It's not like he's played for 5 seasons. They just got him. And they also got Eli Apple, although he's not good, as a replacement for him. I believe that defense is going to be stellar. They have one of the best wide receiver cores in the league with Waddle and Hill. If Tua plays good and plays without concussions, he could very well be in the MVP conversation. He could very well be the MVP. But anyway, I have them winning against the Chargers, taking a freak L against the Patriots, winning against the Broncos, losing to the Bills, winning against the Giants, winning against the Panthers, losing to the Eagles, winning against the Patriots, winning against the Chiefs, winning to the Raiders, losing to the Jets, winning against the Commanders, winning against the Titans, winning against the Jets, winning against the Cowboys, winning against the Ravens, and winning against the Bills. Let me preface this again. If Tua remains healthy, they could go 13-4 and win the division. Next is the New York Jets, who I have as 11-6, which before I realized the mistake with KC. When I noticed the mistake in KC, I kind of had the Jets taking the L due to the points or whatever. But since now everything's cleared up, the Bills go 12-5. I have the Jets at 11-6, still making the playoffs, of course. But they, go third in the division. Maybe not with Aaron Rodgers once. I do have their ceiling at 13-4, and I have their floor at 10-7 because I do have high hopes for this Jets team. They were really a quarterback away last season, and now that they have a star quarterback, I believe they could do pretty well. They start out the season with 4 wins against the Bills, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Falcons. I have them losing to the Cowboys, losing to the Eagles, then another 4-game winning streak with the Raiders, the Texans, the Browns, and the Patriots. I have them losing 4 in a row to the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots. Again, freak. I have the Patriots splitting with everyone, even though it doesn't seem right in my predictions. And then losing to the Chiefs, of course. I have winning against the Giants, winning against Dolphins, and winning against the Commanders. Oh, and I also did that out of order too. So, I think that Chiefs one might also be a mistake. Correct me in the comments if it is. Maybe I just didn't like the Chiefs when I did this stuff, but or I did like the Chiefs, but I have them going 11-6. They could also very well go 12-5 if I messed up with that Chiefs thing. But I still have them third at AFC East. Finally, the Patriots. I used to have them 7-10. I kind of lost some hope on them. I have them going 5-12. Yes, their defense is good, but they have Mac Jones and Juju Smith-Schuster is their wide receiver one. They have barely anyone on offense. They just did get Ezekiel Elliott, but he is washed. So their offense, I think, is going to be horrible this year. Their defense could be good. But just like the Broncos last season, they had a good defense, and they went 5-12. So very well could happen here. I have them losing to the Eagles, winning against the Dolphins, losing 3 in a row to the Jets, Cowboys, and Saints, winning against the Raiders, winning against the Bills, which they could easily lose that, losing against the Dolphins, winning against the Commanders, and then taking, what is that? 7-game loss streak. Yes, I'm a biased Colts fan. Since the Colts are in Germany, I got hope for them. But they win their last game against the Jets. The Jets are probably just like resting their starters or whatever. So yeah, I don't really have much to talk about it. Their floor could easily be 2-15. They could lose all their divisional games. But if Mac Jones is suddenly good, Juju is good, I do have them going 8-9 as their ceiling, of course. Division 4, AFC South. This is where my Colts play. And you're going to see the most biased thing you've ever seen. Although I do have them a little down since we don't have Jonathan Taylor for the first 4 games. And of course, if he doesn't play, I'm going to get real mad at him. But anyway, first we start off with the Colts, who by the time I was making this, I had them going 9-8. And now I kind of have them going 7-10. 7-10. Their floor could easily be 5-12. I know. The team could be bad, but last year we were Super Bowl contenders. Obviously not contenders, but people believe we were Super Bowl contenders just because we got Matt Ryan. Now that we have a better, sorry Matt Ryan, I love you, better QB in Anthony Richardson, we shouldn't be 3-14, whatever, just because he's a little rusty. Not rusty, of course, but of course a little not good right now. Of course, when Jonathan Taylor comes back and he plays, of course, I believe that when he plays and he shows he's good, we're going to pay him. But I believe he plays really well either way, so he gets his draft stock up and trade stock up. Anyway, I have the Colts ceiling at 11-6, of course, and that would be the best thing in the world. But although I do hope for an upset against the Jacksonville Jaguars week 1, I do think we lose this one. I think we lose to Houston week 2 and lose to Baltimore week 3. But we're not losing to the Rams week 4. We're not losing to the Rams week 4. We're not losing to the Titans week 5. We could easily get swept by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do think we take one game, but I'm leaning on us getting swept. We're not losing to Cleveland. We're definitely not losing to the Saints. Still mad at that Super Bowl, of course. The Carolina game's going to be close, but I feel like we can edge it out. We're not losing to New England. We're not losing to Tampa Bay. We take a 4-game losing streak with Tennessee, Bengals, Steelers, and Falcons. We're not losing to the Raiders, and we're not losing to the Texans twice this season. If you look at our schedule and look at our roster, although our defense isn't the best, I do still think we can be all right this season, even without Jonathan Taylor. I know, call me biased all you want, all you Titans fans or whatever, call me biased all you want. But you know who I do have winning the AFC South? The Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them going 11-6. Their ceiling very well could be 13-4 if Trevor Lawrence absolutely balls out and Calvin Ridley absolutely balls out, but I have them 11-6 right now. Their floor could be 7-10 if that was just a one-hit wonder for Trevor. I don't believe it will be, though. I have them winning against Indianapolis, losing to Kansas City, winning to Houston, winning to Atlanta, losing to Buffalo, By the way, the Atlanta and Buffalo games are both in the UK. Best country on earth. I have them winning against Indianapolis again, winning against Orleans, winning against Pittsburgh, losing to San Francisco, winning against Tennessee, losing to the Houston. I feel like CJ could ball out that game. Losing to Cincinnati, winning 4 games to Cleveland, Baltimore, Tampa, of course, and Carolina, and then losing to Tennessee, probably resting their starters. Overall, this is going to be a pretty scary team, and it will probably own the AFC South this year, but next year, the Colts will be coming for that South title. Next, I have the Texans, and I have them at 5-12, fourth for the division. Please, in the comments, tell me 5 players that weren't drafted this season on the Texans roster. And you can't say Davis Mills. It's hard, right? Who is on this Texans team other than CJ Stroud and Tank Dell? No one. There's no one good on this team. CJ has no one. He should have came to the Colts. They don't have anything. So I have them going 5-12. Their ceiling could very well be 7-10 if CJ Stroud is just the new Patrick Mahomes and is him. But it's very likely that they do also go for their floor at 3-14. Maybe they're tanking for someone, maybe like a guard or a tackle. But I have them losing to the Ravens, winning to the Colts, losing to Jaguars, Steelers, Falcons, and Saints, and the Panthers. I have them winning against the Buccaneers, losing to the Bengals, winning 2 against the Cardinals, and Jacksonville, losing 4 to Denver, New York, Tennessee, and Cleveland, winning against the Titans, and then losing to the Colts. Now, for the Titans, yes, I know, they got DeAndre Hopkins. That doesn't change anything. They're going 7-10. I don't get how getting one wide receiver, who, by the way, this team is literally the graveyard for wide receivers. All I need to do is say Julio Jones. All I need to say is that one wide receiver isn't going to fix a team that not only chokes a division lead 7-3 when we were all playing horrible, not only doesn't have a good quarterback in any of their people. Will Levis is bad. Their other backup is bad. Ryan Tannehill is bad. Derrick Henry is going to become washed soon enough. They're not going to be a good team soon. So I have them going 3rd in the AFC North. I have them winning the first game against the New Orleans. I have them losing to the Chargers, losing to Cleveland, losing to Cincinnati, losing to Indiana, losing to Baltimore, winning against Atlanta, losing to Pittsburgh, losing to Tampa, winning Tampa Bay, losing to the Jaguars, winning against Carolina, winning against Indy, losing to Miami, winning to Houston, losing to Seattle, losing to Houston, and winning to the Jaguars. Overall, I don't think this division is going to be as bad as everyone says it will be, because we're not the NFC South, of course. But yeah, it's still a pretty weak division. Next, we are moving on to the NFC with, of course, after our AFC playoff bracket. First, I have Cincinnati Bengals. 2, I actually have the Miami Dolphins, which is surprising to me. That win against the Chiefs could very well put them at 2nd. Although you could go check my Chiefs one. I might have them 14-3. 4th, the Jacksonville Jaguars. 5th is Buffalo Bills. 6th is Jets. And 7th is Ravens, like I said. I have Pittsburgh missing the playoffs, but they could definitely be sneaky here. But now to the NFC. And a hot topic for sure. The NFC North. With the Vikings, the Bears, the Lions, and the Packers. And this one wouldn't surprise you if you saw my other one on the NFL. But Chicago Bears, heavily overrated. If you don't mess with them going 3-14, don't mess with them going 5-12. I don't have hope for them. Justin Fields isn't a good quarterback. All he can do is run. Like I said before, getting one good wide receiver isn't going to change the team around. Their O-line sucks. Their defense isn't that good. I don't have much hope in them. But if everything does go well and Justin Fields just somehow comes back, I do have them going 8-9, but the floor could easily be 3-14. I have them winning to the Packers and Tampa Bay. False hope 2-0. Losing to Kansas City, winning against the Broncos. Again, false hope 3-1. Losing to Washington, losing to the Vikings, winning against the Raiders, losing to the Chargers, losing to New Orleans, losing to the Panthers, losing to Detroit, losing to Minnesota again, losing to the Lions, losing to Cleveland, winning against the Cardinals, losing to the Falcons, and losing to Green Bay. I just don't have hope for this Bears team. I know it's being very hyped right now, but just don't buy into it until you see Justin Fields balling out, which I don't think is going to happen this season. Next is the Detroit Lions. And yes, I have them second in the NFC North. And we will explain later. But the Lions, I have a lot of hope for the Lions. The Lions are going to be really good this year. They improved their defense. They have a great wide receiver core, although Jameson Williams cannot play for the first 6 games. I believe it's 6 because of gambling. He's also been injured. That could, stop him from going back further. I feel bad for him, of course. He's only gotten like 1 receiving, which of course was a touchdown, but I really want him to play because he will be a really good wide receiver. Jared Goff, heavy underrated QB. Heavy underrated. People underrating Jared Goff heavy right now. Jared Goff is low-key him. I can see him carrying him to, like I have, 12-5. But if he does flame out, they could go 8-9. And call me crazy, but they could go 14-3 with this roster. They have a pretty good roster. I have them losing to the Chiefs, although now I think they could definitely win it, boosting the thing up to 13-4, but keeping it simple, I'll keep them at 12-5 here. I have them winning 2 to the Seahawks and Falcons, losing to Green Bay, winning against the Panthers and the Bucks, losing to Baltimore, losing to the Raiders. Not losing to the Raiders, of course. Winning against the Raiders. Going on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 6, plus 7 game winning streak, actually. To, of course, I already said the Raiders, but Chargers, Bears, Packers, Saints, Bears again, and the Broncos. Losing to both Minnesota and the Stars, Dallas, and then winning against Minnesota. Of course, next, you have the Green Bay Packers, who will probably go 6-11. I don't have hope for Jordan Love. I know there are a lot of Jordan Love believers. I'm not one of them. I feel like Jordan Love could be fine, but I don't have him being too well. And, say what you want about the Colts being young, but they are one of the youngest rosters in the league. They're going to be rookies, and I just don't have them doing good. Again, like I said a million times before, I do believe they can do well. Jordan Love does ball out. They could go 8-9, but I also could have them going 4-13 if they don't. I'm losing to the Bears and the Falcons, winning 3 against the Saints, Lions, and Raiders. People are going to be talking about how Jordan loves him, but I have him losing to the Broncos, losing to the Vikings, winning against the Rams, going on a 5-game losing streak against the Steelers, Chargers, Lions, Chiefs, and Giants, and winning against the Buccaneers before losing 2 to Carolina and Minnesota, and I have them winning against the Bears. Again, I don't have too much hope for this team, but now we have our winners of the North. Hot topic, Minnesota Vikings, 12-5. Yes, they lose to the Lions, week 18. Yes, the Lions could very well go 13-4. But for right now, and what I had before, and, never count out Patrick Mahomes, I have them winning the division, probably because, they scored higher in their first game, since they will split 1-1. And the Vikings will probably be higher on divisional. I'd need to check that, of course. But I have them going 12-5. They could easily go 13-4. And the floor is 9-8. And let me tell you why. Because their offense is stellar. Yes, the O-line's a bit spotty sometimes, but they have Justin Jefferson. They have Jordan Addison. They have T.J. Hawkinson, who just made bank. They have K.J. Osborne. That's a good receiving core. And don't get me started. Don't get me started on Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is top 3 in the NFC. He is top 3 in the NFC. Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback. Yes, he may be at 10, but he's a top 10 quarterback. Kirk Cousins has been the most underrated quarterback of the decade. And here's why. He has amazing stats. Great stats. He went 11-0. 11-1 technically, if you want to count the Giants more than the playoffs. He was 11-0 in one-score games. And yes, you may think that's bad. Yes, you may think it's bad that they had a -3 points differential. But they just got Brian Flores. And keep in mind, they did this all under a new head coach last season. The Vikings will not be bad. Yes, I know what you're saying. What about Dalvin Cook? Alexander Madison's going to be him too. He's going to be a good running back too. Kirk Cousins, like I said before, underrated. He's goated. And anyway, I have him winning to the Buccaneers, losing to the Eagles again, winning against the Chargers and the Panthers, losing to the Chiefs, winning to the Bears, losing to the Niners, going on a 6-game win streak against the Packers, the Falcons, the Saints, the Broncos, the Bears, and the Raiders. I've been losing to Cincinnati, winning to the Lions, winning to the Packers, and losing to the Lions. Again, the Lions could be first at 13-4, but we're not going to get into that right now. Because next is the NFC West with your favorite team, the team that's going 17-0, the Arizona Cardinals. No, I'm joking. We have the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. First, we have the 49ers, which I believe go 14-3, easily win the division. They just played Nick Bosa. I believe it's the biggest defensive contract a player's ever signed. I don't have them going low, even if Brock Purdy flames out. I have them going 11-6. Their ceiling could very well be 15-2 with their dominant defense. They have basically the best defense in the league, maybe just behind the Eagles. They're kind of in tight contention for that. But I have them going 14-3 with their only losses coming to the Cowboys, the Bengals, and the Seahawks. And they could very well beat the Seahawks. And the Cowboys, too. I mean, I have them at 15-2 for their ceiling, but don't count them out going 17-0 with this defense and this offense. They have pretty great receivers. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, all those people. Their own line's not too bad. I don't know who their running back is, actually. Robbie Gould? Is that a receiver? Don't call me on that. But I have a lot of hope for the 49ers season, and they're obviously winning the West season. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals, who are going 0-17. I'm sorry, Cardinals fans. You make it 2-15. You make it 2-15. I mean, that's the best case scenario. The best case scenario is winning once the Rams and somehow winning against some other team. I don't even know which other team. The Texans? The Falcons? Your team sucks. You don't have any good players except maybe Budda Baker. He wants out too. You don't have Kyler Murray. You have this random QB we don't even know yet. We're expecting Joshua Dobbs. You basically have no receivers. You basically have no defense. You have no one. I'm sorry, Cardinals, but I believe you are the first team, unless the Raiders do it, of course, to go 0-17. And, of course, I believe with that first pick, they do dish out Kyler Murray, sadly, and go with probably the best QB of the generation, Caleb Williams, although I have heard that he could stay back in USC just in case he doesn't like the team. He was obviously talking about the Cardinals, of course. But overall, strap in, Cardinals fans. It's going to be a rough one. The Rams, I don't have high hopes either. I mean, Cooper Kupp, he's out week 1. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Matthew Stafford, he can't connect with his young teammates. He's washed, definitely after that, when he had concussion. They shipped off a lot of good players on their team. I think they still have Aaron Donald. Or is that someone else? Don't quote me on that either. I think they still have Aaron Donald. I have them going 3-14, with them going 4-13 as a ceiling, and 2-5 at the floor, only winning to the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals again. Only 2 years from that Super Bowl win. So down bad, Rams. You should have kept those picks. Finally, we have the Seattle Seahawks, which I'm still high on. They just got Jackson Smith. He's going to be a great wide receiver. They already have great wide receivers. They have a pretty good running back. Geno Smith, he, of course, surprised a lot of people last season. He's a pretty good quarterback, surprisingly. Of course, these could all be a one-hit wonder, and they could go 7-10, but they could also go 13-4. They could have a chance at winning the division, although I feel like it's very, very unlikely. But I have them winning against the Rams, losing to the Lions, winning against the Giants and the Panthers, losing to the Bengals, winning against the Cardinals, winning against the Browns, losing to the Ravens, winning 3 against the Commanders, the Niners. That could be a close one, of course, and the Rams. Have them losing 3 to Niners again, Philadelphia, and the Cowboys. I have them, of course, winning out against the Titans, the Steelers, and the Cardinals for that 11-6 record. Next, I should get the last division, NFC East, and I am a lot higher on the Commanders, as you're about to see soon. I have the Commanders really down bad, but, not kind of looking at it again, I feel like they could do better. But we're going to keep it how it is, of course. And, of course, I have them going 6-11. Again, I'd say that's still high for that time. But I definitely have them, a little higher, at 7-10, 8-9, maybe even sneaking into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It's the Commanders. And, of course, I had their ceiling at 9-8 first place, but I feel like 9-8 could be the norm. Of course, their floor could also be 3-14, but I feel like Sam Howell is going to be really good. He's going to be another Kenny Pickett, breakout season for him. They still have scary Terry McLaurin. He's an amazing wide receiver, very underrated. Their defense isn't horrible. Their offense isn't that bad either. But for here, I have them 6-11, winning to the Cardinals, losing to the Broncos, Bills, and Eagles, winning against the Bears, losing to the Falcons, losing to the Giants, winning against the Eagles. That's going to be an upset, of course. Losing to the Patriots, losing to the Seahawks, winning against the Giants, losing to the Cowboys and the Dolphins, winning to the Rams, losing to the Jets and the Niners, and winning against the Cowboys. Don't count out this team. Don't count out the Commanders. Alright? Remember this. Next, we have the Dallas Cowboys, second in the NFC East. I have them going 11-6, with their ceiling at 4-13, and the floor at 8-9. I don't like the Cowboys. No one likes the Cowboys. But I don't see them being bad. Yes, Dak is not top 3. Yeah, he is. I'm just trying to make them Cowboys fans mad. Yeah, Dak's top 2 in the NFC. Maybe top 3. But I don't think Dak is good. I think he's just average. Trying to get them Cowboys fans mad again. But I feel like Dak is going to miss his goal of not throwing multiple picks. He will go over 10. He's going to go over 10. He's just not the best with throwing the ball. They just got Trey Lance, so if the season goes bad, who knows? I have him losing to the Giants week 1, upset. Winning against the Jets, winning against the Cardinals, winning against the Patriots, winning against the Niners, losing to the Chargers, winning to the Rams, losing to the Eagles, winning to the Giants, winning against the Panthers, winning against the Panthers, winning against the Seahawks, winning against the Eagles, losing to the Bills and Dolphins, then winning to the Lions and losing to the Commanders week 18 like they did before. I mean, this team, although it looks really well, another thing, they shipped off Ezekiel Elliott for replacement of Tony Pollard. I mean, if things go wrong, they could not be a winning record team. Just saying. Next is the Philadelphia Eagles, and I feel like they easily sweep the division again. Become back-to-back division champions for like the first time in like, I don't know, like 20 years in that division. It hasn't been back-to-back in like 20 years. But I have them going 14-3 with their only losses coming to the Niners, the Cowboys, and shock loss to the Commanders. I don't see this floor happening at all, but there's still a chance because the schedule is so hard. They could go 10-7. Their ceiling could definitely be 15-2, and definitely don't count them out for that 17-0 hunt, although I don't see them getting it at all. Not much to say. Their team's just great. Jalen Hurts, top 5. Defense, again, one of the best in the league. Offensive line, one of the best in the league. Receivers, one of the best in the league. This is just a super team, and it's going to be hard for a lot of teams to beat them. Next, I have the Giants. I've seen people hype the Giants. I haven't liked it. Daniel Jones is not a good QB. He's not a good QB. And I may bite my words. Maybe he is. I don't think he is, of course. Now, the crazy thing is here, I don't even know what the week 1. I blocked out the week 1. Now, the reason you see those black boxes is because, it's just a preseason games, but they blocked out week 1. Oh, never mind. I was just reading it wrong. Sorry. But anyway, I have them going 7-10 with their floor at 6-11 and their ceiling, if Daniel Jones can be good, at 10-7. I mean, their defense isn't the best. Daniel Jones isn't good QB. Anyway, if you look at the schedule, you can see it's very hard. And I don't think Daniel Jones is him. So I have him going 3rd and missing the playoffs. Now, for our last division, the NFC South. Ooh, worst division in football. Anyway, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their floor is 0-17. I have them 3-14 right now. They're going to suck. The only ones I have are against the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Saints, all divisional rivals. Tampa Bay is going to suck this year. They lost Tom Brady. They're going to lose Mike Evans. I don't think they pay him in time. And he's probably going to be traded mid-season, if not at the end of the season. Their defense isn't that good. Their offense isn't that good. Baker Mayfield's not going to bake. They're going 3-14, or even 0-17, possibly. That's really all I have to say, though. Next is the Falcons, which I see them coming first in the South, with their explosive running game and Desmond Ridder coming out to be at least average. Bijan, their other running back, are going to light up defenses, definitely. I don't think Desmond Ridder's that bad. I feel like he could do pretty good. Their defense isn't horrible either. They just got some new players. I think they got one from the Bengals even. But let's jump straight in. They could go 7-10, of course. They could also go 11-6, have them at 9-8. I have them winning to the Panthers and the Packers, losing to the Lions and the Jaguars in the UK. Have them winning 2 against the Texans and the Commanders, losing to Tampa Bay, although I can definitely see them winning that. Losing to the Titans, though I can definitely see them winning that. Losing to the Vikes. Winning against the Cards and the Saints, losing to the Jets, winning against Tampa Bay, losing to the Panthers, winning against the Colts, unfortunately, winning against the Bears, and finally losing to the Saints. Speaking of the Saints, you're not getting to them yet. We got the Carolina Panthers now. I have them going 7-10. Bryce Young's not as, bad, per se. He's one of the most starting QBs of that draft. And I think they could have a chance to win the division. They could go 9-8. They could also go 5-12. Maybe Bryce is a bust. But I have them going 7-10 right now. With them losing to the Falcons, losing to the Saints, winning against the Saints, of course, losing to the Seahawks is what I meant. Losing to the Vikes, losing to the Lions, losing to the Dolphins, winning against the Texans, losing to the Colts, winning against the Bears, losing against the Texans, losing to the Cowboys, winning against the Titans, losing to 2 in the Bucks and the Saints, winning against the Falcons, winning against the Packers, losing to the Jaguars, and winning to the Bucks. Now, finally, now we're going to get to the Saints. Tricked you with that, Saints. I have them going 8-9, going second. I feel like the team could be good. They're going to lose the first 3 because they don't have Alvin Kamara. They're going to lose the first 3. Derek Carr, people have been hyping him up too much. Like I said before with Daniel Jones, he is not that good of a quarterback. He is not that good. And I'm sorry, Raiders fans, Saints fans, he's not that good. People compare him to, like, Kirk Cousins for, like, being underrated or being punching bags, but Derek Carr is nowhere near, not even touching Kirk. Anyway, their floor could be 6-11. Their ceiling could also be 11-6 if everything goes well. But again, I have them losing the first 3 to the Titans, Panthers, and Packers, winning the next 3 to the Bucks, the Patriots, and the Texans, losing 2 to the Jaguars and the Colts, winning 1 against the Bears, losing 3 to the Vikes, the Falcons, and the Lions, winning 3 against the Panthers, Giants, and Rams, losing to the Bucks, and finally winning against the Falcons. Now that our predictions are over, I'm actually surprised I didn't make that many mistakes. I only really made mistakes with the Chiefs, honestly. I don't know what it was with me and the Chiefs. But for NFC playoffs, I have the 49ers edging out first with the Philadelphia Eagles in second, Minnesota Vikings getting third again, Falcons going 4th, Lions going 5th, Seattle Seahawks going 6th, and the Cowboys going 7th. Now, a little divergence from the playoffs, which I believe are next. I'm going to go through my award winners real quick. Award MVP, it's between Joe Burrow, Hurts, Mahomes, and Tua, and I believe it's going to be Burrow. Offensive Player of the Year is going to either be Tyreek, Devontae, maybe not Devontae, since I think he's going to get traded, or Justin. I've been leaning Justin. Defensive Player of the Year, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Aaron Donald, some players like that. I mean, anyone on the 49ers could honestly get it because they have a stacked defense, honestly. Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Anthony Richardson, biased, of course. Not too sure on the Defensive Player of the Year because I don't really care about that much. Comeback Player of the Year is obviously going to be Damar Hamlin. If he stamps 1 foot on the field, he wins it immediately. No, just Damar Hamlin going. I'm glad he's alive. And I'm glad we didn't win a death on live TV. And Coach of the Year, I know there are more awards, but Coach of the Year probably goes to Dan Campbell. But, yeah. Also, Falcons 4th, Lions 5th, Seattle Seahawks 6th, and Cowboys sneak in 7th. Now, wild cards. I believe the Dolphins beat the Ravens. Close game, close-ish. I could see it being like 27-23. Chiefs are going to beat the Jets single-handedly, like a 10-point difference, 34-24, 34-27. Bills beat the Jaguars. Again, probably like 10, even 17-point difference, because the Bills are honestly way better than Jaguars. Like 34-17. The Eagles are going to wipe, and I mean wipe the Cowboys. It's going to be like 40-3 or something. Save it. And when you see that happen, don't be mad. Close game with the Vikings just beating the Seahawks by like 30-27. I feel like it'd be high scoring. And Lions are going to probably beat the Falcons by 10, like 20-13, 20-10, 20-7, something like that. For our divisional round, I have the Bengals beating the Bills and the Chiefs beating the Dolphins. But yeah, let me know in the comments if I'm doing this playoff bracket wrong. I think I know what I'm doing, but again, let me know. The Bengals are just the better team to the Bills. And knowing how bad they destroyed the Bills last time, I definitely think it's going to be, like, close in a field goal. I still think the Bengals take it, like, 33-30. Chiefs, Dolphins, get your popcorn for that one. That one's going to be a high shooting score out if Tua doesn't get hurt. I could see it going in the 40s. Like, 42 to 34, 31. But yeah, I have the Chiefs winning that. Sadly, my two teams, Lions and Vikings, are going to get wiped by their respective Niners and Eagles. It's going to be a rematch in the AFC Championship. Good, bad, who knows. But it's like, Lions, they're just not ready to make that deep push yet. If they get a few more players, then yeah, they'll be ready. But I see, like, the San Francisco 49ers going, like, 34-10, 34-17. Maybe the Lions can make it close, make it, like, 27-20, 27-23. But I see the former for that. And Eagles, I'm sorry, Vikings, but even though your defense is going to be better, I still believe that the Eagles are going to wipe you, like, 40-3 maybe. Sadly, they mollywopped the other teams last year. But in the AFC Championship game, we have a rematch. But opposite. My Super Bowl is Bengals 49ers. Bengals Chiefs is going to be an amazing game like always. I believe 23-20. Bengals get their get back after going 4-2 since they're at home. No Burrowhead this time. No Mayer dissing the Chiefs this time. Which, you know, main reason Chiefs won, not gonna lie. I think got them hyped up and motivated. But I've got the Bengals. And for the other one, it's gonna be close. Is it gonna be high scoring? No. It might be like 10-7, honestly. That's going to be a defensive stand. And although I feel like the Eagles could put up a very big run for Niners money, I feel like the Niners defense is just a bit better. And they will move on to the Super Bowl. And for the Super Bowl, the Bengals win. I feel like the two Super Bowls before, back in the 80s, motivate the Bengals. You know, Joe Burrow finally beats that Bengals first, gets the first ever ring for the Bengals. Again, we'll see. Of course, the Niners do have a stacked defense. But just like last year, the Eagles had a stacked defense, and they still lost to the Chiefs. The Chiefs put up 34 to them. And of course, I'm not going to get into any of that ref stuff. If you want to, you can. But you still put up 34 points as one of the best defenses. So, yeah, I see the Bengals definitely winning this. Call me biased or whatever. I don't care. Not really. These are my predictions at the end of the day. But just a quick recap over everything. 1, 2, and 3. Bengals, San Francisco, Eagles. 4 and 5, Chiefs, Dolphins. 6 and 7, Vikings, Lions. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Ravens, Bills, Jets, Jaguars, Seattle, Dallas. 14, Steelers. 15, 16, 17, Chargers, Colts. Wink, wink. Falcons, Saints, at 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Browns, Broncos, Titans, Giants, Panthers. 24 and 25. Packers and the Commanders. 26, 27, 28. Patriots, Houston, and the Bears. 29 and 30. Rams, Tampa Bay, and 31. Rams, 32. Cardinals. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Long video. Probably only get like 50 views. 50 views, I'm overshooting. I've only been getting 15 now. Just having fun around here. Anyway, I hope you had a good time watching this. I had fun making this. I had fun making this back when I made the schedule. I had fun recording it. I hope the season goes towards my plan, because the Colts do good, but of course, I've watched a lot of predictions. My opinions have changed, and they probably will change. And anyway, I hope to see you next time. Next video, probably going to be Jonathan Taylor. That's at least next to my plans. After that, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe something about LGS. That just started today. But anyway, overall, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.